What if your child suddenly changed overnight? Not just sick, not just fussy, but different, colder, watching you, smiling at things you can't see. For centuries in Ireland, families believed this wasn't illness or imagination. They believed the fairies had come, and they had taken the real child away. Tonight, we're diving deep into one of Ireland's most disturbing and tragic legends, the Changeling myth, tied to the mysterious fairy race known as the Sea. But this isn't just folklore, because in 1895, a real woman died over this belief, and her name was Bridget Cleary. Who were the fair folk? To understand changelings, we have to understand the beings blamed for them. In Irish mythology, the Sea were not tiny winged sprites. They were powerful, ancient beings, believed to be descendants of the Tuatha De Danann, a supernatural race said to have ruled Ireland before humans. When humans arrived, legend says the Tuatha De Danann retreated underground into hills and burial mounds, known as fairy forts. They became the good people, not good because they were kind, good because you didn't dare call them anything else. They were beautiful, intelligent, and dangerous. And according to legend, they desired one thing humans had: healthy children. Why steal human children? There are several explanations in Irish folklore for why changelings were taken. Fairies needed human milk. Some tales say fairy children were weak and needed nourishment from human mothers. They desired mortal strength. Human babies were strong, beautiful, vital. Fairies, though magical, were sometimes described as frail or fading. They feared death. In darker stories, fairy children were dying. To save their bloodlines, they swapped their sickly offspring with healthy human infants. Payment of a hidden debt. Some legends claim humans unknowingly trespassed on fairyland, cutting trees, building homes near fairy mounds, and the changeling was punishment. And sometimes, they didn't just take babies. Young brides were also said to be stolen, especially beautiful women taken after childbirth. How to spot a changeling. According to folklore, a changeling might grow sickly or thin, cry constantly, show unnatural intelligence, refuse food, develop strange facial expressions, seem emotionally distant. But one detail appears again and again: the eyes. Stories describe changelings as having old eyes, ancient eyes, watching, calculating. One bizarre test involved cooking eggs in eggshells by the hearth. The idea? A fairy disguised as a child would be so shocked at such absurd behavior that it would laugh and reveal its true age. In some versions, the changeling would exclaim something like, "I have seen the acorn before the oak, but never such cooking as this," meaning it had lived centuries. The real case, Bridget Cleary. Now we step from myth into tragedy. In 1895, in rural Ireland, Bridget Cleary fell ill. She had a fever. She became weak. Her husband, Michael Cleary, became convinced she was no longer his wife. He believed she was a changeling left behind by the fairies. Over several days, he and others tried cures. They forced her to drink herbs. They questioned her identity. They demanded she declare she was not a fairy. Eventually, in a horrifying escalation, Michael burned her alive, believing the real Bridget would return from the fairy mound on horseback. She never did. Her death shocked Ireland and Britain. Newspapers called it the last witch burning. But it wasn't medieval superstition. It was 1895. Why did people believe this? Historians believe changeling lore often explained autism, developmental disabilities, sudden illness, postpartum depression, mental health conditions. In a time without medical understanding, folklore filled the gaps. If a child changed suddenly, stopped speaking, stopped eating, acted differently, it was easier to believe something supernatural had happened. In some cases, the myth became a coping mechanism. In others, it became deadly. Changelings in legend and pop culture. The changeling myth didn't die, it evolved. Here are several major examples. The ballad The Stolen Child. In 1886, poet W.B. Yeats wrote The Stolen Child. The poem describes fairies luring a human child away. "Come away, O human child, to the waters and the wild." It romanticizes the fairy world, but beneath the beauty lies the core fear. The child leaves and never returns. The film The Changeling, 1980. The horror film The Changeling draws heavily from European changeling lore. It centers on grief, replacement, and the terror of something unnatural taking the place of a child. The fear of replacement is the same psychological core found in Irish legend. Supernatural. The kids are all right. In the TV series Supernatural, an episode titled The Kids Are All Right features changelings replacing children in a neighborhood. The children appear normal, until they don't. They begin acting cold, coordinated, inhuman. The show directly pulls from Celtic folklore, including the idea that changelings eat excessively and behave with eerie intelligence. Outlander. In Outlander, characters discuss changeling fears in 18th century Scotland and Ireland. The series portrays how deeply embedded this belief was in rural communities. It wasn't fantasy to them, it was reality. The changeling myth forces us to confront something deeply uncomfortable. The fear that someone we love might suddenly become unfamiliar. That illness or difference might be something otherworldly. In ancient Ireland, fairy mounds still dotted the hills. People avoided disturbing them, because the Aos were watching. And if they wanted something from you, they would take it. Quietly, leaving something else behind. So next time you hear about fairy folklore, remember, for some families in Ireland, the changeling wasn't just a story, it was an explanation. And sometimes, a sentence.